to In Depth. I'm Elayne Anthony. This program is designed to have real and deep conversations about news that affects us from the point of view of many in our immediate community. Today we explore the job market in Mississippi and across the nation. Nearly 1,100 students have earned degrees from JSU and participated in graduation exercises. This spring, there were 800 students in the undergraduate roles and 306 students who earned master's or doctorate degrees. As they all enter the competitive job market, we'll discuss the top jobs available. Also, what are companies looking for when they hire? And for those with a bachelor's degrees, is it really a good idea to start working, or should you go to graduate school? We'll introduce you to our panel, or our guest rather, in just a moment. But first, April's U.S. job market is bleak compared to the last 6 months, according to new data. Job growth slowed in March. The economy added 103,000 jobs. That's significantly less than the 185,000 jobs expected by economists, and unemployment remained at a 4.1%. That's the lowest since the year 2000, but wages are on the rise. They grew over 2% from a year ago. U.S. Senator and former presidential candidate Bernie Sanders was in Jackson recently, and he spoke about the jobs and the economy exclusively to JSU-TV during his visit.
When you look at people of color and poor people, you talk a lot about the wealth gap. Are we better off or worse off 50 years later?
Well, right now, in terms of income and wealth inequality, it is worse today than at any time since the 1920s. You have the top 1/10 now owning almost as much wealth as the bottom 90%. You got 3 people in America owning more wealth than the bottom half of the American people. And that is an issue that we have got to address. We are the wealthiest country in the history of the world, but almost all new income and wealth is going to the top 1%. And that is not the direction that a successful country goes.
And infrastructure is roads and bridges and rail and water systems and wastewater plants and affordable housing and high-quality internet service at an affordable rate. And when we do that, we're going to create up to 15 million decent-paying jobs rebuilding America's crumbling infrastructure.
And joining us today is LaShonda Jordan. Welcome to In Depth. Now, when we look at career planning for students at Jackson State, we're looking at, or just fields for America as well. The fields that people are going into would be computers and healthcare. Does that hold true for students graduating from Jackson State?
In a sense, it does. However, when you look at Jackson State, since we don't necessarily have healthcare like nursing and things like that, our students are tending to lean more towards jobs in education fields, accountancy, which lines up with the top jobs for recent college graduates. Those fields are education, accountancy, your business type fields, and also our computer science, computer engineering. Those students are trending more towards your technical fields, which lines up with some of the national top jobs.
Well, when we look at the students here in journalism and media studies, are in the College of Liberal Arts. Are those fields still viable as well?
Yes, those fields are viable. However, some of those students, especially with your liberal arts students, they are tending to trend more towards going to graduate school to look at pursuing a master's degree or some other type fields before they go out into the job market.
Okay. Well, overall, what do you think is the economic outlook for the 2018 graduate?
Well, that's interesting that you say that. When I was listening to Bernie Sanders and looking at the overall jobs report that recently came out, that is lining with NACE, which is our National Association of Colleges and Employers. One of the things that they actually, in their recent job outlook report, they do one in the fall and they do one in the spring. So the fall outlook showed that there was a 4.0% hiring trend up. However, when they got to their spring report, employers plan to hire 1.3 fewer graduates.
And so that's
from the
going
class.
down.
That is going down. So when you look at where our hiring, actually the jobs report, the national jobs report that came out, they're actually trending kind of the same.
But explain to us when we're looking at salaries. It seems as though the salaries are inching up a little bit. Is
Well,
that true?
For certain fields.
For certain fields.
I'm quite sure you're aware of a lot of the, when we talk about education being one of the top fields, and that's because they are, all of our states are recently, they're clamoring for students, there are fewer students going into the field of education. And so that's why it's one of the top fields that are out there. But that field is not one of the fields that, are highly paid, or people are compensated for their skills. However, when you look at more of your technical fields, like your computer science, computer engineering, those computer analyst jobs, yes, those fields, when you talk about salaries, those salaries are now, they've increased and they're projected to increase more.
I was just talking to a student a moment ago about the field of sales and marketing. And that is a very lucrative area.
It is.
Especially for some of our students.
Yes.
And we have a program, a sales and marketing program that we send our students to complete and to help in that regard. So I'm pleased that we still have that forecast to look
Yes,
forward
and
to.
when you look at any fields in your business, fields, not just accountancy, but those marketing, those sales positions, those are fields that are hot commodities, and they are currently looking for students, especially entry-level students, who can get into those fields and kind of lay a pathway and move upward.
Okay. When we come back, of the nearly 800 students graduating with bachelor's degrees from JSU, many will go immediately into the workforce, and some will go to grad school first. Which is the better idea? We'll discuss it with our guest after the break. You're watching In Depth.
The City of Jackson Police Department is currently looking for new recruits. If you are at least 21 years of age with a high school diploma or GED and possess a high moral standard, the Jackson Police Department is looking for you. Serve your community and make the City of Jackson a safer place to live, work, and play. We offer a competitive pay scale and the chance for promotion not found in many careers. Classes begin soon. Apply online or at the JPD Training Academy. Join us to begin your training to become an officer of the Jackson Police Department.
Dependable, affordable, safe. J-Tran, your way to travel.
Welcome back, everyone. According to the National Association of Colleges and Employers, there will be an increase of new graduates in the workforce by 4%. That number is lower than the hiring projections over the past several years. But it points to a positive job market when it comes to salaries. Education could mean better pay and more job security, according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. High school graduates in 2015 earned just over $650 per week. Those with bachelor's degrees earned twice that amount. But does this mean that going to graduate school right after earning an undergraduate degree is a good idea? Back with us is LaShonda Jordan. What do you think?
I think it really depends on the student's major and the student's field and what they want to accomplish when they get out into the world of work. So for our students who are liberal arts majors, you want to talk about your English degrees, your history degrees, some of our political science students. Those students, what we see in our office, those students are the students who are trending more towards going to graduate school right after college. We do have some of our students who are in business degrees, may have a business degree, who want to go right on and complete their MBA also. However, it really kind of depends on the student and the field that they're going into and what they plan to do overall.
And you know, you're so correct, because in some of our fields, we tell our students it's best to go out there and get some experience. Because people don't want to do or will not do in our area on-the-job training. They want you to come in with those particular skills.
And that is true. A recent article that I read, it talked about is graduate school for me, and it was pointedly for students who are recently graduating and trying to make that decision. And one of the things it said, you should consider is a lot of times, what is it going to make me more marketable at this point in my career? And so if it is, then yes, you choose that path for yourself. However, you also need to look at graduate school is very expensive. And so some employers will pay for you to attend graduate school if you make a commitment to stay with them, at least a year or two after you finish your graduate degree. So you need to also consider that as a student, is it better for me to go now, and, should I wait and let my employer pay for me to go?
Another thing, we just had students to graduate just last week here at Jackson State University, and I'm sure other universities have graduations coming up. But for those students who are not graduating, let's say they'll be graduating next year, are there some areas in their career and planning departments on these various campuses that students could go to, as well as for us? We hope that they'll come to their major department. But is there anything else that students can do to hone their skills and to prepare for graduation?
Oh yes, there are a number of things in our office in the Career Services Center at Jackson State. One of the things that we try to tell our students when they come here as a freshman, your senior year is not the year that you seek out the Career Services Center. These are services that you should start seeking out as a freshman student. We also have a timeline in our office, a kind of a career readiness timeline for our students that takes them through the process from their freshman year through their senior year of what should I be doing every step of the way as I matriculate through my college experience to prepare me for the world of work. And so for those students, I say we have a ton of services and resources in our office. There are also services around campus taking advantage of your major department because they get job opportunities, they get internship opportunities for students. And so taking advantage of some of those resources and services to help you prepare not just in your senior year, but starting out as a freshman.
And we talk to our students about that because we only offer internship during the last semester of your junior year or your senior year. But we want our freshmen to do some volunteering.
Right.
There are so many things that you can do on your campus. I know here at JSU, but on other campuses as well, that give you so much great experience.
Yes, and one of the things, I was talking to a prospective student not too long ago who is interested actually in mass communications. Okay. And one of the things his mother asked, well, are there opportunities as a freshman for him, when he comes to campus? And I did speak about the community service, but I also, one of the things I would encourage our students to do more of is job shadowing. Getting out as a freshman, even though you may not be able to get an internship as a freshman, there's always an opportunity to go and shadow a person in a particular field that you're interested in. And so we can help students make those contacts in certain fields to be able to go out into the community to shadow a person.
Well, what do you think employers are looking for in their hires?
Oh, wow. Well, employers are looking for students who, those soft skills more so. Yes, they expect students who have graduated to have those hard skills, those skills that you're going to get in the classroom. But they weigh those soft skills just as equally. And when I talk about those soft skills, I'm talking about those communication skills, verbally and non-verbally, those technical skills, are you able to do Word, access, databases, websites, things like that. And then how well do you work in teams? How well do you work with other people? And then what is your capacity to want to learn more and to grow in your field? And so they're looking at those particular skill sets also.
And what roles do degrees, skills, or experience play in a job search?
Well, one of the things that I encourage our students to do as soon as they're able to intern or co-op, I encourage them to start, because what an employer is doing now is not just enough to have an undergraduate degree when you graduate, to have a bachelor's degree. They are looking for students who have experience even before they graduate. So when they look at your resume and they see, oh, well, yes, this student has a degree, well, so does, hundreds of thousands of other students. But what kind of experience do you have to bring to the table? Am I going to have to do more training with you versus another person who's done internships? So they're looking for students who have experience already before they graduate.
When we come back, we'll look at the top 10 states in the United States for employment. Is Mississippi one of them? Stay with us.
Jackson State has prepared me academically, spiritually, financially. I was already mature, but they taught me how to be mature in a professional manner.
The quality education that I received at Jackson State University really set the foundation to pursue God's PhD.
I came on my first visit. I love the atmosphere. The culture has so much energy. There's always something going on. Jackson State, to me, it's just a home away from home.
Morning, Gary. We are GetSchooled.com. You want a college education, don't you? You know you do. That's why we're here. We're free and here to guide you through every step of the way, starting with attendance. Gary, financial aid forms. Picking a college, man. You and us. Go together like tacos and Tuesday.
And I love tacos. Go to GetSchooled.com.
Welcome back, everyone. According to the last U.S. Census report, there are 3 states that excel in job growth. Between 2015 and 2016, Florida tops the list there with their growth rate, which is 5%. Arizona is at a distant, reporting 3.7% in job growth, and Oregon has a rate of 3.5%. Mississippi is not one of those top 10 states. Why do you think Mississippi is not on that list?
Well, of course, Mississippi, we rank last in a lot of areas. We do some things very well in our state. But the reason why I feel like we're not on that list is because of the industry that we have within the state, especially when you're looking at, jobs opportunities for students who are graduating from college with bachelor's degrees. And so we tend to lean more towards manufacturing areas where you don't have to have a degree to go into those fields. And so our workforce is not to the point where Florida or some of those other cities, states, are, we don't have those type of industries within our state that would attract recent college graduates.
But we do have workforce development right here in our state. And is that an advantage to our students and to people trying to get into the workforce?
Not particularly for students who are graduating with 4-year degrees.
But
for 2-year degrees, workforce development is absolutely wonderful and provide wonderful opportunities for those students who are graduating with those technical degrees, with those trades. And so it is going to be a gold mine for those students because we do a lot within it. And that is one of the things the state of Mississippi does well, is our workforce development and helping those students. However, when it comes to your bachelor degrees, your 4-year colleges, we're not trending so well in those positions.
But there are still some things that we can do and that we are doing here in the state.
Yes.
So, well, we're pleased about that. But I want to ask you a quick question here, is that we tell our students you only get one chance to make a first impression.
Oh, yes.
Why is that important?
Well, first impressions are lasting impressions, and so it is very important for students. And one of the things I tell students, I go even as far as your first impression is really your resume, is what the employers are going to see first who are looking at you. And so you want to make sure that your resume is in top-notch condition, that it's been critiqued and looked over by professionals, and it can sell you until you get in front of the people. And so when you get in front of prospective employers, you want to make sure you look the part, you speak the part, and that you can sell yourself. You know, you can talk about your skills and what you bring to the table and why you are the best person for that job.
And I'm sure within your division here, there are some skills that students can go to your area in career planning to look at how they need to look, what they need to say, how they need to talk. All of that's a part of it.
We do all of those things. We host professional development seminars throughout the year where we talk about those things to students on dressing to impress, resume writing, job interviewing skills. And so we're working with our students, and they don't have to wait until we offer a particular,
they can come by
they
at
can
any
come by
time.
at any time. And so we want to make sure our students know, again, from the time they come in through the door as a freshman, that we're here for them and that we offer services and resources that are going to help prepare them for the world of work.
Could you tell us, what do you think is the outlook for recent grads? And what would be some of your advice to them at this point in their career?
I always say, even when you look at the economic outlook, if you have a degree, if you're a recent graduate, you have that in your corner. You can always sell that. You may have to relocate. You may have to go to some of those top 10 states that we talked about. But the fact that you have a degree, the outlook is always going to be good for you. One of the things that you also have to consider is maybe I do need to go back to graduate school to hone in on some skills or to advance myself so that I can be more marketable when I go out. And so I would just offer to students that they really assess themselves, they assess their skills, they assess what they bring to the table, and ask themselves, am I what an employer is looking for right now? And so when they answer that question to themselves, if they don't know the answer to that question, we can definitely help them to get themselves prepared.
Do you get some students where you have to kind of steer them in maybe another direction if they're not really ready to take the path that they've chosen?
Yes, we do. We offer what we call career coaching in our office for our students. And so we get students who come in and they say, well, I'm currently majoring in computer engineering. Well, that was because my mom told me I should be a computer engineer. However, I don't like calculus. I don't like math. And so you can't be a computer engineer if you don't like calculus and you don't like math. And so one of the services that we offer to students, we have several assessments that students can take in our office that will actually let them do a self-assessment of themselves, the skills that they bring to the table, what their likes and their dislikes are, and then based on that, give them a complete assessment based on people who trend similar to myself. These are some of the occupations that they tend to go into. These are some of the majors that they tend to go into. And so a lot of times our students see that assessment and they're like, wow, well, I always thought I would be good at that. And it's like a little light bulb turns on for them, and when they see that, when they're able to see it in black and white. And so we definitely want to encourage our students, take advantage of some of those resources so that they can make sure they're heading in the right direction.
Well, that's wonderful, because it's best to find out here at the university before graduation, before actually getting out there on the job market and then finding that out.
Exactly, and that goes back to job shadowing and interning and why those things are so important for our students too.
And that's why we really push that here, because I've had students to before they get to the internship stage, I take them out on field trips so that they can actually see. They either come back and say, I love what I've chosen to do, or sometimes they come back and say, this is not for me. And really, I believe that's a win situation, because it's good to find that out at the freshman or sophomore level rather than to go through and find it out at the intern level or after graduation.
I completely agree.
So that's what we're trying to do here in the Department of Journalism and Media Studies. So we really appreciate you being here and sharing with us. And if people would like to contact you, how could they do that?
Well, our office is located in the Career Services Center. We're located in the Reddix building on the main campus of Jackson State University on the first floor. Our phone number is 601-979-2477, and they can reach us on via website at www.jsums.edu/careers.
Well, that's wonderful. Thank you again for being with us here on In Depth.
Thank you.
All right, and thank you so much for being with us. We'll have final thoughts and advice for recent graduates in just a moment.
The Jackson State University family would like to thank the 2017 J5 Drum Majors for Academic Excellence for raising more than $200,000 for scholarship endowments, including Title III grants. This year's Drum Majors include Dr. Alfred Martin, chairman of the Jackson State University Development Foundation, and his sister, Dr. Anna Jackson. Their scholarship will support students in the biology department. Dr. William Bynum Jr., 11th president of Jackson State University, establishes the Christine Bynum Smith Award for Academic Excellence and Involvement in Campus Ministry. Lieutenant Colonel Dexter Brookins and retired Brigadier General Robert Creer create the Dr. John A. Peoples Jr. ROTC Scholarship Endowment. Dr. Bill Cooley, retired Dean Emeritus of the JSU College of Business, and Team Cooley, their scholarship goes toward the JSU School of Business. Tarita Benson Davis, second vice president for the Jackson State National Alumni Association, and Team Benson Davis will create a scholarship for the School of Business. If you would like to become a head drum major for academic excellence next year, contact the Jackson State University Development Foundation or the Office of Institutional Advancement.
And to wrap up our conversation, we talked a little earlier about the top 10 states. And those top 10 states, I think the very top would be Florida and Arizona. Now, where do we have to be in the top 10? And you've already told us Mississippi is not in the top 10. So is it industry and manufacturing that would place you in the top 10 numbers?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of getting some of those highly computer, analyst positions and things like that across our state, which is where most recent college graduates are tending to gravitate to more business level positions and more positions for some of those students who are in liberal arts and not just the positions that are in manufacturing. So we need more industry that is going to be for college graduates.
And sometimes you also mention that in certain fields, if an opportunity is out there, as much as we love home and as much as we want to stay in Mississippi, we might have to go where opportunity is.
Exactly. And that's the case for a lot of our students, especially those students. I tend to think of the students who get out and intern, especially if they intern out of state, they never have a problem with relocating and going where the opportunities are. And so that's probably what we're going to see in Mississippi until we get, more positions, more industries that are geared towards recent college graduates.
So even though our situation is different here in Mississippi, but all is not lost. We have so much to offer in our state. And we hope that some of these graduates will stay with us.
We do. And I think we get we have some students who are just not going to leave the state of Mississippi. And so they make positions for themselves. They create opportunities, whether they're entrepreneurs or they go out and they look for those companies who are seeking to hire their fields.
Okay. And thank you again for being with us here on In Depth.
Thank you.